Growing up, I've always been fascinated by the film and cinematic look of most Hollywood movies. I started off my creative journey as a freelance photographer with the intention of actually transitioning into film. And I've always been on the lookout to achieving the film and cinematic look. In quest of achieving this, I discovered a wide range of techniques and approaches used to achieve the film and cinematic look. Some of the methods used are shooting with film and cinema cameras, and also using film LUTs or lookup tables. Quick fact, you can actually achieve the film and cinematic look with a digital camera if you really know what you are about and wouldn't have to hassle with using film and also processing it, since using and processing film is freaking expensive. The film look is mostly characterized by film grain, emulation, bloom, and the likes. Aquila and the Bee is a typical example of a movie which actually used the film look. And dominantly used in this movie is the bloom effect, which I'll be talking about in this video. Today, I come to you with some good news. Dehancer reached out to me to actually test and review their plugin, which I'll be doing in this video. Dehancer doesn't have access to this video until it is being published, so this is my honest opinion about Dehancer. In today's video, I'll be covering exactly what is Dehancer, who is Dehancer primarily for, features and benefits of using Dehancer, and also the pros and cons of using the plugin. So what is Dehancer? Dehancer is a film emulation plugin that works with both photo and video editing softwares like DaVinci Resolve, Lightroom, Photoshop, Premiere Pro, Final Cut, After Effects, and the likes. It allows you to achieve the film look by adjusting settings like blue relation, film rate, as said in the video earlier. So who is Dehancer primarily for? Dehancer is for anyone who is looking to create the film and cinematic look on their photos and footages. This includes photographers, cinematographers, filmmakers, colorists, and also anyone who would want to add that cinematic flair to their works. So guys, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like this content, and also leave a comment. And also stick and stay to the end of this video, because I have some goodies I'll be sharing with you all. So come along with me, let's explore Dehancer. Okay guys, so we are already in Premiere Pro. So what I'll do here is drag and drop my footage, my timeline this way, and I'll create an adjustment layer, drag and drop it onto my footage. And when working with Premiere Pro, I prefer to mostly work on colors on adjustment layers to actually give me that kind of freedom to go back and forth if the need be. Yeah, so I'll drag and drop it this way. And because it's a flat profile, I actually shot. I prefer to mostly, before I use Dehancer, I prefer to mostly work and give it a bit of contrast to actually make my footage look a bit pleasing. So what I'll do is to come into the color tab, and inside the color tab, all I'll do is to add a bit of contrast and color to my footage. So I'll come into the basic tab here, and inside the basic tab, what I'll do is I'll boost my contrast up to, let's say, plus 40, and I'll lift up my shadows a bit to somewhere around 12. And you can do without adding saturation to the whole look of the footage. So I'll add saturation of plus let's say 150, and let's see the before and after. That's the before and that's the after. That's the before and that's the after. I'll further add contrast by going into the curves tab and create an S curve this way. So I'll pull down my shadows and I'll lift up my highlights this way. Okay, so you can see what the S curve is actually doing to our footage. I'll go back into my basic correction tab and I'll add a bit of saturation into my, I'll add a bit of exposure to the overall look of my footage. So let's say 0.4 is fine. So you can see the before and after of how you've gone with the footage. So once we are through with the basic correction by adding some contrast to the footage, I'll then come and create another adjustment layer, place it on top of my footage this way, and I'll come into my effects tab, search for Dehancer, drag and drop Dehancer onto my adjustment layer here, and you can see it's already doing some magic here. If I deactivate Dehancer, you can see the before and after actually adding the Dehancer plugin. Okay, so Dehancer automatically adds some looks to your footage once you apply it on your footage. So we will come into Dehancer and start building up from there. So inside the input, because I shot this with a Canon camera, I shot this with the Canon EOS R, I'll come to choose camera and I'll try and select the camera I actually shot this with. I actually shot this one with, yeah. So because it's a Canon camera, I can't really find the model I actually shot with here. So I'll go back and actually choose the Rec. 709 conversion. But I think Dehancer should actually try and get most of the cameras we use into their plugin so that it makes it easy for the conversion. Yeah, so I'll come over here. Inside the input tab, you can see temperature, tint, the fringe, and the fringe radius. Okay, so we are just going to run through all the features Dehancer gives us. So inside the temperature, it's basically going to warm it up or cool it down. So you let me revert. Because Dehancer automatically activates certain features in the plugin, what we will do is to deactivate each and every feature which has already been enabled. So I'll come over here to actually see what we are doing to our footage. So inside the film, when you disable this, what you get. So we would have to run through quickly all the features Dehancer actually give us and deactivate everything which has been enabled. Okay, so we have all the features disabled, so you can see what Dehancer is doing to the footage. Actually, it's not adding anything to it as at now. So I'll come down, and inside the temperature, I'll try and add some warm tones into the footage. So you can see the slight changes here. So say plus 5 is okay, and I wouldn't do anything to the tint. And with the difference, why it does this, it basically try and remove all fringeness around your subject, and it mostly happens in situations where you shoot against the sky. So with that, I wouldn't do anything to it, because if I'm supposed to even zoom in this way, you wouldn't see any fringeness in my footage. I'll leave it as it is and move on to the next feature we have. We have film, and inside the film, Dehancer actually has a ton of film stocks you can actually choose from. There are a lot. You can see it for yourself right here. There are a lot, and as time goes by, Dehancer actually update and add more and more. So what I'll do is I'll go to enable this way, and you can see what it has actually done to the footage. If this is the look you are really going in for, you can just settle with this. But with mine, I'll actually play around with the film stocks we have here. We have Kodak Vision 3 200T, and you can actually see the look is giving it right here. And when you go up, we have Agfa Color 100 So you can see what is actually giving you right here. If I deactivate it, you can see the before and the after. Okay, so just as you can see, each of the film stock really look pleasing, and depending on the kind of look you want to achieve, you can actually choose a film stock that suits your creative idea or your creative decision you would want to. And inside the push, I'll just lift it up a bit to 1, and I'll move on to the next feature. So we also have film developer, and inside the film developer we have contrast boost, gamma correction, color separation, and color boost. So we can play with these sliders and know how each and every one of them works. But before then, you would have to enable that feature in particular to actually see whatever it is you are doing with your footage. So if I lift it up, you can see it's adding a bit of contrast to the whole look. So I'll add a contrast boost of say 15 to my footage. Gamma correction, when you lift it up, you can see what it's doing to it, and if I'm supposed to revert, you can see what it just did to it. And with the color separation, you can either decrease or increase. It's a subtle feature which when you enable or disable, you really wouldn't see much. But inside the color boost, it's more or less like adding saturation to your footage. So just as I'm lifting it up, you can see it's adding colors to it, and if I dial it down, it's just desaturating the whole look over here. So I'll add a color boost of, let's say, plus 50. This is really nice. So before adding the film developer and after adding the film developer. Okay, so I'll move next to the film compression, and inside here we have impact, white point, tonal range, color density. So I'll enable it this way. And actually tweak these options I have over here. So I'll move the impact up, and it seems the adjustment I'm doing to it is very subtle. Inside the white point too, you can just see over here inside my highlight areas that is really removing highlights and actually adding highlights depending on the kind of look you're actually going in for. So I'll prefer to dial it down to 50, and inside the tonal range I'll just decrease it a bit. I'll decrease it a bit to 25, and with the color density, it actually makes your color stand out. So I'll add plus 60 of that, so you can see before and after adding the film compression to it. It's very subtle. So let's move on to the next feature we have here. We also have expand. With the expand, you can actually create your black and white points over here. So you have to enable it first, and when you increase it, it actually makes your shadows and your darker areas more contrasty. And if you decrease it this way, it makes it more easy. So you should know how you go about each and every feature to actually guide you to the look you are actually going in for. So I'll add plus 2 of the black point, and inside the white point, I'll add plus 95 of that. And over here you can change the profile to either normal or luma. So this is a very subtle effect you can actually add to your footage. So fast forward, I'll move on to the next, and over here is the print, and inside the print you have a few of them you can actually select over here. First you'd have to enable that feature before enabling. So you can enable it over here. You would have to enable the feature before you can dial in your settings. You can either choose senior film log, which will give you this look, this one, which will actually give you this look. This look is really looking cinematic. You can also move on to this film print, and also this. Yeah, so depending on the kind of look you really want to achieve, you actually go in for that. Okay, I think the Fujifilm 3513 will work for me. So you can either select your target white this way, you can move it up or down, up or down. I think it's fine with me this way, and with the exposure you can lift it up. So I'll add an exposure of 0.3 to it, and the tonal contrast actually add contrast to your shot. Only dial it down, actually make it a bit hazy. So I'll leave it at -2, and the color density, it actually makes your colors stand out. So just as you can see they are really looking a bit saturated, and the reds over here. So I'll actually leave it at 95. And the saturation, just as the name sounds, is basically adding saturation to your footage. So I'll dial it down to -90. I'm actually going for a sort of saturated kind of look to my footage. So I'll come back and see how far we've come with using the Dehancer plugin. That was the before, and that was the after. That was the before, and that's the after. Okay, so we move straight into the color head. Over here you can adjust some ton of settings here. I wouldn't want to bother myself and dive into that. Get the plugin for yourself by using my discount code and have a hands-on feel of that. Okay, so I'll come to film grain, and inside the film grain, just as the name signifies, it's just adding grains onto your footage, and you would have to enable it this way. Yeah, you would have to enable it this way. And once you enable it, you can dial in some settings here, tweak certain things to suit your look. So I'll add the grain size of, let's say, +2. And the amount of grain I would want to add. When you are working with the grain feature, it's better you zoom in into your footage to actually see how it's even affecting your shots. You know, most films are actually characterized by the grain effect. So with mine, I would want to reduce the effect I'm having on the effect I'm having on the footage. And you can actually work on the film resolution, how it affects your shadows, midtones, and highlights, chroma. That is your colors, and the film type, whether negative or positive. So when you change it to negative, so when you change the positive, you see how it affects your footage, and when you change it to negative, you see how it affects your footage. So let's move on straight. One challenge I actually had with using Dehancer is once you activate the film grain, it actually sort of conflict with the other features. And when you activate any other feature, it saves the grain, gives you some kind of feedback. I really do not fancy that. So I think Dehancer can actually check this out and improve it in the subsequent updates. Okay, so I'll deactivate the film grain for now and revert my footage. Okay, so we'll move on to halation. I will have to enable that. Okay, so you have to dial in some settings here. We have source limiter, background gain, smoothness, local diffusion, global diffusion, amplifier, and a lot. So you just have to know what you want to achieve with the plugin, and you just go in for it. So I'll add a bit. I'll increase the source limiter here. I'll increase the source limiter to +30. Okay, so halation also have the max mode, which enables you and guides you to see whatever it is you are doing to your footage and where it actually affects. This feature is not mostly seen in other options as we saw earlier. So I think Dehancer can also work on that to help creators actually see whatever it is they are doing to their footage. Okay, so with halation, it's very subtle. Let me go to the impact and add a bit of that. the amplify. Okay, so it's very subtle though. I can see subtle changes around this area. It's really subtle. So fast forward, let's also move into the bloom effect. The bloom effect. This is my favorite tool in Dehancer. I would have to enable it first and work with it. So I'll actually activate the mask mode, and inside the mask mode, just as you can see some options here, you can just dial in your settings to actually suit the kind of look you are going for. Because we have the mask mode already on, you can see the bloom effect is affecting this part. You can see somewhere here, over here, and here. What the bloom effect actually does is it actually affects the highlight areas of your footage. It mostly affects the highlight areas of your footage. So just as you can dial in your settings if you want it to be more conspicuous, and just increase the amplify. And if you want it to be really seen, you can also increase your impact this way. By that, if I deactivate the mask mode, you can see over here it's giving it a dreamy effect to the footage. So I will disable it to see the effect which has been applied to my footage. So that's the before adding the bloom effect and after adding the bloom effect. Before and after. This is a very cool feature which actually will help creators achieve some dreamy look most of them have been yearning to actually achieve. You get me? And over here we have film breadth, we have gate weave, we have force color, output, light generator, and device. The vignette is just, it gives it some sort of black edges around your footage. So if I enable it, you can see it has added that kind of black effect around your footage. With this footage, I wouldn't want to add vignette. So, and film breadth and gate weave, I actually wouldn't want to dial into that, because that's not the look I'm going in for. You can actually get it for yourself and explore with Dehancer. Same thing applies to force color. I wouldn't want to play with that. And with the output too, I wouldn't want to touch that. And let's go into the light generator. Over here, after creating the kind of look you really want, what you can do is to save it and export it for your subsequent projects without starting it from scratch. You can actually export the kind of look you've created with this footage and using your future project. And over here in the device, it actually shows you the kind of graphics you are working with. And over here, that's where the activation of the plugin actually happens. So guys, basically, we've been able to walk through Dehancer, and we can see the before and after adding Dehancer to my footage. So you can see before and after. Before, and so we will check the before and after adding Dehancer to my footage. Okay, so now that we are done exploring Dehancer, it's time to talk about the pros and cons of actually using the emulation plugin. So the first pro I'll talk about is Dehancer actually comes with a bunch of film stocks which work right out of the box, but you can still dial in a little bit and it gives you the option to actually do so. Dehancer is also customizable, and it actually gives you the room to actually change a lot of parameters to actually suit the kind of look you are really going in for. So Dehancer also saves you a lot of money without having to buy expensive film equipment and later process that film. You can achieve the film look within just a few clicks, and I think that's a cool feature. Once you've created a look you like, you can actually save it as a LUT and export it and use it for future projects without you starting the whole process right from scratch. And also with the price point, I'll also talk about this in the cons. The answer is pretty affordable. All things considered, 2 seats, which means you can actually run this program simultaneously on 2 computers, and that comes at a price point of $400 for video programs. And also with the photo plugin, it comes at a price point of $200, and you can run them simultaneously on 2 different computers. And I think that's a very cool thing about Dehancer. And about the course, it is quite intimidating and overwhelming to work with as a beginner. As a beginner, you have so many DAWs you are not familiar with to actually work with, and I think that's quite challenging when you are starting off. And also, not all parts of Dehancer has the max feature, which actually guides you as to what you are doing to your image, whether you are going overboard or you are within your safe ground. So knowing what you are actually doing to your image becomes somehow a guessing game. I would like to also see the max feature being applied to other parts of the plugin. So the answer, you can actually help us by including this in your next update. The next one I'll be talking about is not being able to rearrange the features in the emulation plugin. There are some features I use often, and there are some I barely do not use them. I don't touch them at all. So I think Dehancer should actually give creators the room to actually rearrange some of these tools in order to actually help speed up the workflow of most creators. Dealing with Dehancer is quite intensive and actually takes a lot of processing on your computer, which ends up actually slowing down your post-production. But then I would recommend creators to actually use proxies to actually enable a fast preview to actually increase the pace at which you work on your project. But overall, the optimization is quite decent as compared to some other plugins I've tried earlier. So the answer is really on top when it comes to this film emulation gift. And about the price point, I already talked about in the pros, that I'll also talk about it in the cons. The reason being that starting off as a creator, not having enough funds, $400 is quite a big deal for creatives who are actually starting off. So I think the answer, but then if you are a young creator and you are looking forward to use Dehancer, there is a free version which you can actually go in for, which you can try out. And if Dehancer, you can actually do something about your price point for entry level creators, giving them a fair deal. As a creator from Ghana, $400 is some amount of money not all creatives can actually afford to actually buy a film emulation plugin. So if Dehancer can really do something about the price point to actually help creators from this part of the world, I think that would be a very fair deal for each and everyone. Lastly, it's actually limited to the few programs I mentioned earlier. And if you are looking forward to get it for yourself, make sure you use these programs to avoid wasting money. Dehancer also has the mobile app, which is only available on App Store for iOS devices. So you can also have that, and it comes in handy for any ways you want to do it at your comfort. You know, mobile devices are always around us, so you can get the mobile app. And yeah, I actually recommend Dehancer to every creative, be it a photographer, filmmaker, cinematographer, or colorist. You can actually go in for Dehancer. It actually saves you a lot of time, and it's a very cool plugin to actually have in your arsenal to actually enhance your workflow. So guys, here we are at the end of today's video, today's video. And Dehancer is giving all my audience a 10% discount off your purchases you make with Dehancer. So anytime you are looking at actually purchasing anything with Dehancer, just use my discount code, and by that I also get 10% off any purchases you made, and it goes a long way to actually help grow the channel. Thanks for watching my videos. If you are a returning subscriber, big ups. And if this is your first time of actually chancing on my content, I say a very big thanks to you. Kindly subscribe, like, comment, and also share my videos to other creators. and on to the next time. Peace.